sit back in your seats, get something to eat, and watch this movie. Don't let the kiddies see it, because, well, we'll let you hear the beginning first. Thank you.
Hello!
Hello!
Welcome to Closet Chat. I'm Sunny.
I'm Rainy.
So, Rainy,
Mm-hmm.
there's just the whole thing about going on to the next year, right?
Yeah.
It's all about leaving the past, and I don't know. I feel as if I've been, experiencing some strange things.
Strange things? How strange?
Yeah, I've been hearing, random noises outside my house. As if somebody is, walking around my house late at night. I'll get out of bed and I'll look around. I don't see anything, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the wind.
Yeah, it probably is. I mean, we do live in a suburban area, and
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's the coyotes,
yep.
And another thing that just won't leave 2022, along with our disagreement over coyotes versus coyotes,
It's coyotes. I'll die on this hill.
is the fact that we've never finished the Friday the 13th series.
Oh yeah, yeah, we probably should have finished that last year.
Yeah, that's what's been haunting me.
I mean, I've had other things haunting me, but that one.
So, today when I came over to Rainy's, I was like, hey, Rainy, you know what we should do?
What should we do?
We should finally get to that.
Yeah.
So, we decided today that we were going to, maybe do things slightly differently instead of, binge watching them and then doing one episode covering 5 to 6 movies. Maybe instead we'd focus on one, just so that our memory is fresh because we literally just finished watching it 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It was an experience.
I would say there was a lot more laughter in screams.
Okay, yeah, no, this is, I would say out of a lot of, well, okay, there's always been a bit of a comedic element to Friday the 13th. However, I would say this tops the movies, other ones.
Yeah.
How do you call it? Tops the cake? What's the phrase?
I don't know. I know there's the phrase "jump the shark," but this didn't jump the shark just yet.
Tops the bottom?
Maybe. Try not to laugh.
Basically, it is a winner so far.
Yeah.
It is the funniest. However, I would say perhaps the least glorious.
Yeah.
The deaths were not that extreme.
No, actually, if anything, they were very censored.
Yeah, I would say that the previous movie was probably one of the goriest.
Oh yeah.
Because we had the beheading in the beginning of the movie in the psych ward. That was pretty graphic and very surprising. I would say that was one of the biggest twists we've had so far.
Oh yeah.
However, yeah. So let's talk about Friday the 13th, episode 6.
Part 6.
Part 6, my bad.
So, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and just. I made a list of notes, and
Perfect.
I think apparently I was the only one.
Well, I was hoping that I would just remember everything.
Yeah.
Which for the most part I do.
Yeah. It's just also someone was bugging me about not paying attention.
Yeah, because somebody was doing their Cookie Run Kingdom comic stuff.
I was multitasking.
Multitasking does not exist. No.
Not to you, at least.
You can multitask, but you're not going to give 100% to one thing.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, fine.
You would give about 50-50 or maybe 75 and 25.
Okay, that's fair.
Yes. Okay, so from what I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong at any point,
Mm-hmm.
we start off. Oh my god, I just remember the beginning. The title.
No. Before the title.
Okay,
Before the title.
okay. Before the title.
Because-
Guys, no, I'm not even joking.
Hold on. So when we get to the title, you can scream as much as you want. Let's get to the
Guys,
opening
when
scene.
Rainey said there was a lot of laughter, she was not joking.
Well, it was more of a lot of screaming on your end, but not like. Let's just go ahead and just talk about the first thing.
Okay.
When we get to the title.
So,
Yeah.
in the beginning of the movie, we get shots of nature. There is fog. It is night.
Dog eating roadkill.
Dog eating roadkill. Indeed, that is one shot we see. And then we see a lake, and we realize, oh, it's Camp Crystal Lake.
Oh, haven't been
Except,
down.
I don't know, was it revealed at that point that it was like.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so it's Camp Crystal Lake. There is something strange going on. And then we cut to two guys driving in a car. And, they're planning something. We see the one character, Tommy, he's from the previous movie. So we're like, oh, we see him. He survived. Well, at first we didn't recognize him.
Yeah.
But, so Tommy is the main character from the previous movie, and he was also in the fourth one as well.
Yes.
And so we're guessing that he either escaped another psych ward or he got better, but, was still paranoid about Jason. So he's going out with his friend to his grave. You like to take it from here?
Yes. So both of them are going into the grave. They're trying to find Jason's grave.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're going through the graveyard. They find Jason's grave and they dig it up.
By the way, they make a perfect hole
perfect
around
hole.
the grave.
Not just around, but right whatever was on top. They made everything is perfect, and it's just like that is not.
Like, how did y'all know the exact shape of the fucking coffin?
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a small nitpick, but yeah.
Yeah. So, and at first, Tommy's friend, I think his name was Hawks.
Something like that, yeah.
He didn't want to do this because he knew that he just felt like something was going to be wrong.
Yeah, he was pretty paranoid.
He was pretty paranoid. But Tommy is digging it because he wants to make sure that Jason never comes back.
He's like, I gotta see it, right? I gotta see his body.
Oh,
and yeah.
And after all the dirt is gone, Tommy opens the casket, which is revealed with a lot of bugs.
Yeah, we were both gagging, especially Rainey. So we see his corpse filled with maggots, worms, all the kind of bugs. He's obviously dead.
Oh, he's almost like nearly composted. He's just covered in bugs at that point.
Yeah, and meanwhile, I'm just wondering, like, how much time has passed? A few years, perhaps?
A few years, because I know, like,
I mean, Tommy is older at this point, for sure.
It's just that the last movie, Jason was not in that movie. It was someone else.
No, I thought he was in that movie.
No, Jason wasn't, except in hallucinations. It was another person pretending to be Jason.
Oh, okay, so Jason was like never in it at any point. Because I thought it was the case where like somebody was pretending and then he died and then Jason for real just came out.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. So there's that. So at part 5, Jason wasn't in there at all. So Jason's prior appearance was part 4. So we would give a good 10, 12 years between part 4 and part 6.
So that makes sense because as Tommy is digging up the grave, we hear and slightly see flashbacks of him stabbing Jason to death. Yeah. And that's basically technically the last time he saw Jason. So it does make sense that he's paranoid about, his trauma as a kid rather than the previous movie. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
Jason is dead. The end. That's the movie.
Oh,
if only.
Because Tommy decides, because, instead of using the shovel that he was digging to just decapitate Jason, no, he decides to go get a metal rod.
Specifically from a fence.
And decides to stab Jason's corpse multiple times.
And I'm just like, hell yeah, brother.
And then thunder and lightning
Oh,
happen.
by the way, as this is happening, his friend in the background is just like, oh, geez, oh, gosh, we shouldn't have done. Oh, he's going. Okay. I thought that was very funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, lightning strikes.
Yeah, and then that somehow, Jason comes alive.
It strikes the corpse twice.
And I,
Or 3 times. It hits the rod, goes to the body starts glowing and stuff. Crappy 90s special effects. And I think, I'm trying to remember what happens. I think Tommy is like, oh shit. So he tries to remove the rod, puts on gloves because the rod is obviously too hot,
yeah.
and pulls it out. And bam, Jason is suddenly grabbing at him, and he definitely grabbed his ass once.
Booty.
Booty. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so Hawks runs, but Tommy is like trying to light Jason on fire.
Right.
And it rains.
He pours gasoline on him, and as he's trying to light the match, not a lighter, but a match,
Oh my God.
it rains.
It rains, and then he's just like, fuck. Because, he's about to get killed.
Yeah.
But then Hawks smashes Jason in the head with a shovel, which breaks.
Yeah, I was going to say, which you'd think it would, since he's a rotting corpse and all, it would... By the way, he's still a corpse. Basically, zombie Jason.
Zombie Jason, yeah. But,
you'd think his head would, explode or something, because it would be all squishy and mushy.
Yeah, but no.
No.
Instead, Jason gave Hawks a high five to the heart.
And you'd think his hand wouldn't even be able to do that. No, but it's a strong high five.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He accidentally high fives the heart out of him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so his friend is dead. And
his friend falls into Jason's grave.
Right, the casket falls over him. And his foot is, sticking out.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so, this is important for later.
Yeah, it's important for later. So then Tommy is like, fuck, books it.
Gets to the car that they were in originally and drives to the police station. And this is where the fun begins.
Yeah,
I was very frustrated.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Let's rewind a bit.
Yes.
Title card. Okay, hold on. So Sunny's going to go off for a second.
Oh my gosh, y'all don't even understand. I lost my mind. So Tommy runs up to the car, drives off. And then we get a close-up of Jason's mask. We get a close-up of his eye, and you see, his corpse skin around his eyeball. And then it zooms in further to his eye, and then his, pupils start, expanding. And then, boom, it expands, and you see another Jason inside his pupil. And boom, it's a fucking James Bond parody. And he throws a knife to the screen, and then it transitions to the title.
Yeah, so that was the first 5 minutes, and you were already losing it.
I didn't expect there to be a James Bond parody in a Friday the 13th movie.
But yeah, that was losing it moment number 1.
Oh my god, there were so many. But yeah, title card. And then as we said, he goes to the police station. Not Jason.
Not Jason, Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy does. Yeah.
And oh my god, those cops are trigger happy.
Yes. He gets in, he's like, Jason's back. And then they're like, oh, shut the fuck up, kid. You don't know nothing.
No. The sheriff, I think it was the sheriff, he raised the gun.
No, that was a deputy.
Oh, that was a deputy?
Wait, no, the sheriff, yeah, he woke up. Rose, raised his gun because he was taking a nap in his office, and it's an empty-ass office. Raised his gun, it's like, oh, boy, you're trying to give me a heart attack? Blah, blah, blah.
Trying to be all dramatic and shit?
Yeah, and Tommy is like, Jason's black, blah, blah. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Junior, you're disrespecting me? You think I would believe in that shit? I better lock you up back into the psych ward. Because, at that point he realizes, he's like, what's your name? Tommy, and whatever. Oh, you're that kid. Yeah.
And then was the point where the deputy come in, and then, the sheriff is like, hey, our name has changed because we no longer want to be associated with Crystal Lake. Because that's when at that point we learned that the camp's name and even the town has completely changed to cover
Forest Green?
I think Forest Green, yeah.
Yeah.
Like they were trying to be like, we don't want to have that memory of Jason and
Yeah.
Crystal Lake. We don't want that memory anymore. And like they were also saying, look, whatever happened to your because I don't think they said folks, which is like that doesn't make sense because he didn't have his dad with him. I think I don't know,
I
maybe
guess his mom and his sister, but his sister was
His
like
si-
still alive.
his sister's still alive.
So I don't understand what happened to his sister. They kind of act as if she died.
So I think they explained in the last movie is that they no longer talk.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, but that's a slight nitpick on my end. But it's like, they're saying like, whatever happened to your family, that's a tragedy, but you can't pull something like, because I think he's pulling a prank, which is
Yeah.
like, no, if someone with like, trauma and PTSD says something like, oh, this person who was in my childhood came back.
I mean, to
That's
be
not-
fair, it's supernatural, and like a person, like they could say, "Oh, you're just paranoid. Oh, you're delusional. Oh, blah 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 blah." It doesn't help that he was in the psych ward for a very long time.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, no, because in the end, he does pull up evidence later on.
Oh yeah.
So they end up throwing him into the prison cell, and that's when there's a few back and forths between Jason and like different scenes. Basically, Jason starts going on a killing streak.
Oh yeah. But before we talk about his
Yeah.
killing streak, let's talk about the counselors.
Yes. So it is at this point, after they threw Tommy into the prison cell, that the sheriff's daughter and her friends.
3 friends. So because we only remember one, the sheriff's daughter, whose name is Megan.
Yes.
That's literally the only one I remember.
There was Sissy as well.
Sissy.
And then Core. And then I don't know what the third one was.
This is how I'm going to remember.
So there is Sissy. She's one of the friends. Core is the guy friend
with the beautiful eyes.
Beautiful eyes. He's kind of a beautiful boy. Kind of dumb though. And then there's the other girl. She is I would say she's like the well-meaning gal.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna look.
Short hair.
I'm gonna look it up real quick because I know. Okay. But yeah, I'm trying to remember.
I mean, honestly, I don't think it matters terribly much.
Paula.
Paula, yeah. So Paula, Sissy, and Core. So they're friends with Megan. Megan is the sheriff's daughter. So they all arrive, because they're actually camp counselors. And so they're about to leave. I guess they're visiting her dad. And then they're like, oh, who's that boy in the prison cell? And then Tommy is like, Jason's back. He's back. You gotta warn them. You gotta get them. Blah, 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 blah. And then Megan is just looking at him like, who is this hog?
Ooh, yeah. Which we're gonna talk a lot about her later. Because I think she, at first, became our favorite.
Yeah, at first.
At first. Okay. But yeah, the sheriff, he's like, hey, don't talk to Tommy. Just go get out of here. Go to the camp.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and while I'm watching that, I'm just like, only one of them in that group, minus Tommy, is gonna survive. Because nothing good ever comes with that camp.
Yeah, honestly, to be quite honest, I thought Tommy was gonna die in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Because there's a bit of a theme with the previous, main character just dying immediately, in the first 5 minutes of the next film.
Mm-hmm.
If I can even pull up the film.
Yeah.
So after that, we switch back to Camp Forest Green.
Yeah, it's so weird. We want to call it Camp Crystal Lake because that makes more sense. But
so in between these moments, however, as I said, Jason is going on a killing spree.
Oh yeah.
So he had actually killed 2 camp counselors who were on the way to Camp Crystal Lake. It was at night. It was raining, so it was moments right after he got out of his grave, literally. And this was a pretty funny moment, actually. This is what I'd call a character who is self-aware that they're in a horror film.
Yeah.
Or a slasher film in this case.
Yeah. I will say, so it's a girl and a guy.
Yes.
And they are trying to get to, like Sunny said, trying to get to Crystal we're just gonna call it Camp Crystal Lake because that's just easier to
Mhm.
remember than whatever name they change it to. Anyway, they try to get there. Jason gets there. He's just standing like a
Yeah,
statue.
so basically they stop and the gal, like, he's like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And she's like, "You know, this is what horror movies have taught me, and when there's like a strange guy with a mask standing in your way menacingly at night when it's raining, I think that's a sign to turn back."
Yeah.
And then you turn to see him just standing in front of the car, literally, and it's very funny.
It's kind of funny. So the girl starts, but then the girl starts backing up, but the guy is like, no, if we hit that, we're not gonna be able to get out.
the puddle.
The puddle.
There's like a basically a pothole.
A pothole.
Yeah.
So he just said, just drive straight through. If you keep driving, he's gonna get out of the way.
Yeah, because obviously he would get scared, and she's like, okay.
They do that. Jason doesn't even move. If anything, he gets like a slight nudge and he just stays still.
Yeah.
So the girl's like, okay, any bright ideas? And the guy decides to bring a gun. And it's just like,
yeah, he finds a pistol in the glove box, and she's just like, where the fuck did you get that? And he's like, don't worry about it.
and
Yeah.
which going out of the movie real quick, if anyone does that, that's a red flag.
Has a pistol
Without telling you that they got one. That's
Especially
a red flag.
since she's driving. That's like her car.
That is her
so
car.
It's like, how did his pistol even get in there without her knowing?
Yeah, so that's a red flag. Just let anyone know if anyone
That's all right.
if anyone buys something like a gun without letting you know ahead of time, that's a red flag.
Yeah, because like, who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
So he goes out and he's like threatening Jason. You know, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all.
Okay, so yeah,
Wait, before that, Jason actually stabs the car.
he does stab the car.
And that's when the guy is like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill this son of a bitch." So he grabs his gun. Anyways,
Yeah.
continue.
And this is the moment that made me start laughing because the special effects are so bad.
Oh, I just remembered. Oh my god, it is so funny.
Okay, so and I'm not okay. So just to know, I'm laughing at the special effects, not the death. But so Jason does stab the guy with, I think it's the metal pole that he got from the graveyard. He stabbed the guy with a metal pole, and then he flings him over him. And please note, it's so obvious that he's flinging a doll, like a mannequin rag doll, and I'm just laughing.
It ragdolls away, and it just goes wee.
And I'm just busting out laughing because I'm just like, oh my god, that is such bad special effects. Like,
But once again, it's like a lot less gorier and almost like. Also, Jason has a thing of just crushing people's skulls with his like bare hands.
yeah,
I mean, I think that's always been a thing throughout the movies, but in this one especially.
like it was mostly that. But anyway,
Mhm.
yeah, he did that, and I just lost my shit because I was like, it's because of the fucking rag doll. I was like, it was so obvious, and I just started laughing.
He was very funny.
Yeah, and then Jason starts attacking the car to get to the girl, and the girl just starts trying to get away, and she falls in a puddle or like a pothole.
Yeah, it was the pothole that he was like, "Hey, don't go into it because we'll never get out at that point."
Yeah,
So,
and like she's trying to fumble, trying to grab her wallet, which don't do that.
No, she was trying to be like, "Hey, no, don't hurt me, please. I'll give you anything. I'll give you this." And she's trying to like take cash out of her wallet.
That's what I was meaning. Like,
Yeah.
she grabs her wallet, but she's trying to open it, and I'm just like, no, just throw the wallet at him and just start booking it, because if you throw something at him, someone's gonna get like the killer's gonna get like slightly dazed because they're not expecting you to throw something at them.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that would have been a lot more smarter.
Yeah, and then just start running so that way you can at least create a small distance. Plus, Jason's not fast.
he never runs.
He never runs. So
he always walks. You could technically, if you go for like a light jog, you could outrun him eventually.
so it's just like,
As long as you just don't stop.
yeah, and you don't like look back constantly. Anyway,
Yeah.
so that happens, and then she looks up from after pulling the money out. Jason's gone, and I swear to God, if anyone says, "Oh, Jason teleports," no, I will fight you. No, because it's already proven that he's supernatural right now.
Yeah, he's supernatural, but just because he's a zombie.
He's a zombie, which means zombies can't teleport. Which means most likely, if anything, he just has extra. He just like
If he could have extra strength, you
Extra
can
strength.
maybe assume he has extra agility.
Yes.
However, he just never. Well, also, she was fumbling and she was in a panic.
Yeah,
So he
so-
just went behind her or something. I don't
Okay,
know.
no, he it looked like he jumped down. So either he was climbing something, or he
Are you telling me he literally just climbed a tree
yeah,
as she was?
or he went on
Yeah.
a small ledge just behind her that she didn't see. That's just high enough for him to jump down. Because it doesn't make sense that he can teleport, within a blink of eye. Because even though
To be fair, none of these movies make
no, they
damn
don't.
sense.
I'm just gonna die on this hill. He didn't teleport. That's all I'm gonna say.
Honestly, I agree with that. That's
And-
where I draw the line.
And I swear to God, this will come up again if we get to the movie where he's on a boat. Trust me, when you see it, when we see it,
Boat? Do you mean like a cruise ship or like a boat?
I think it's like kind of like a small cruise ship.
Oh, what?
I think this is when Jason takes Manhattan. When we get to it, I will defend my stance that he did not fucking teleport.
Guys, I forgot that movie existed, so that just blew my mind. Anyways,
Yeah.
so yeah, that happens. He obviously kills her.
Yep.
I was kind of sad. I was like, she's the only one who's like somewhat
Yeah.
self-aware.
And I put, we have smart NPCs. ... Never mind.
Yeah, that was pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he ends up killing a lot of people. But anyways, going back to the Camp Crystal Lake, the camp counselors are getting ready. They were like, those 2 other camp counselors were supposed to arrive, but they haven't yet. Like, this is going to be pretty difficult. And I don't know if it was at this point or later on, but one of the camp counselors, Paula, the one with the short hair, she's like, kind of nice girl. She's like, honestly, I don't think we'll be able to handle these kids if they don't get here. Like, and they were also talking about like Jason because Tommy would mention Jason, so they're like, honestly, I'd rather face Jason than these kids.
And then we actually see kids for the first time in the 13th, like not like one kid, like a bunch of kids.
Yeah, so the school bus arrives full of the kids. They all start running out. They're screaming, and the camp counselors are looking on with horror.
And then I think one of the chaperones is like, "Hey, your problem now."
Slams the door.
The bus driver
leaves.
slams the door.
Yeah.
They're just like, "No, your problem. Bye bye."
Yeah, they're like, summer break is my break.
I think it was just the weekend.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I don't know how summer camps are, so.
I don't know.
We've both never been to one.
No, which is good because I probably would have died.
Me too.
Because bugs.
Oh, for me, it's more of the social anxiety aspect.
That
for sure.
too. That too.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we have kids for the first time, and then at that point, after like the kids are like settling down, the counselors are talking with them. We had a slight discussion of like, what is Jason's motive?
Right, because we were like wondering, like, he doesn't kill animals because Rainey mentioned that he didn't kill the dog. And
Like in previous movies, he never killed the dogs.
he never killed the dogs. He hasn't killed children so far.
So far.
So I was wondering, like, so what are his like limits? Because it seems like, is it like all adults like indiscriminately, or is it like any human? Like, what are his limits? Does he have limits?
I want to say that he will kill like older teenagers, like forget like the ones that are close to being like adults.
Yeah, because the camp counselors are typically like teenagers.
Yeah, like they're like late teenagers, like they're almost
Yeah.
like 16 to 18.
Yeah.
And of course he will kill adults, no problem. It's just the thing is, like for this movie, like what was his motivation? Like was he trying to get Tommy, or was he just taking as many people as he can?
I mean, yeah, because he's always been like a killing machine.
Yeah.
Like his mom just made him into one due to the influence after his death. Because of her hatred against like the camp counselors, it fueled his own hatred.
Yeah.
But it's like, is it just adults in general? Because I'm thinking it's more of like, adults equals they don't actually protect you because they let him drown and he died, and then his mother lost faith in all the camp counselors.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's just that childhood fear that adults are not reliable because he never grew up. So if one adult did this to him, then it means that all adults are bad, right?
Probably.
At least it's how I would see it. I don't
Yeah.
know. They never really talk like or explain it in any way.
Yeah, like, I really actually do want to try to get into Jason's head because I really do want to know, like, is he killing the people who are getting in his way from his main target, or is he being like, all these adults will not protect the kids. I want to get them down as much as possible. So I'm trying to, like, I kind of want to know, like, what's going on in his brain? Like, is it
Yeah.
because of revenge, or is it because
I mean, definitely revenge because
Definitely revenge.
he's basically like a vengeful spirit at
Yeah.
this point.
But it's also like some of these people, how like they legit do care for the children. They're trying to make sure the kids are safe as possible. But then he takes them out, so it's just like, okay, what's your motive, more or less?
Well, I mean, he was, like I said, influenced by his mom. His
Yeah.
mom hated these like people, so of course he would hate them too. But what about like other adults? Because like, what about other parental figures?
Yeah.
Like where did that come from? Why does he kill so indiscriminately? But I mean, it's Friday the 13th. It's kind of a schlock.
I want to try to put some.
I mean, maybe we'll get more of that stuff later on. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ray, you just gave me the biggest stink eye.
That's not my biggest stink eye of the day, but just one of my many stink eyes of the day.
But yeah, continuing on.
Oh, so before he even hits the camp, he's actually playing bloody tag with some company
yes.
people.
So after the kids arrive, we switch to a new scene.
Mhm.
I think in the forest nearby the camp, because
Yeah.
Jason is on the way to the camp. So in the forest there are some company folks who are playing paintball, right? So it's
Yeah.
called paintball.
Yeah, they're playing. I think they're doing like paintball.
Yeah, so they're playing paintball for the company, and they're like, goofing around, and then these two guys and the woman
Who's the
exec,
exec board?
yeah, she shoots them easily, and they're like, "Wow, man, we shouldn't have let her play. This is so stupid." And then they're like, "Yeah, surely she didn't get the other guy though, right?" And then we switch on over to the other guy, and he's having a literal temper tantrum, being like, she belongs in the kitchen. She should stay there. Stupid broad. Blah 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 blah.
And like he has a machete, so that we now know where Jason, for the rest of the movies, or at least for this movie, gets a machete.
Yeah, however, where did he get the rest of his stuff? Who knows?
Yeah, probably raided them, to be honest.
But arrows? Where would he get the arrows from?
Yeah.
Archery.
Archery.
I guess, yeah. What about the knife?
Kitchen. The camp's kitchen.
But he had that knife early on before he even got to the camp.
Oh, the machete knife?
No, not the machete knife, but the regular knife. Remember he stabs in the van?
Oh, I want to say still the because like they were in the forest and they were trying to clear out as much as they can of the branches.
Oh, so okay, so I guess he got it from the company people. So anyways, he ends up killing them. And
first one was the guy that was throwing the temper tantrum.
Yeah,
he left a bloody smile.
Yeah, so basically he smashes his face into a tree, and when the guy falls away, you just see blood, and then it, you see an imprint of a typical smiley face.
That made me lose my shit.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh my god. And then you see, the guy fall, and then Jason, he's, holding, the guy's arm with the machete, and he slowly looks down at the arm that's still hanging on the machete, and it's just, there's so many moments in which Jason looks genuinely bamboozled by his own, if it isn't the consequence of my own actions, oh my god.
I swear, if someone hasn't made this already, I would have thought that Jason's thinking oh, okay. I swear, I want to try to find a video of someone doing what Jason is thinking, because I think that would have been hilarious.
Almost as if you're taking the videos, the animals, they're doing stuff, and you have the voices.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to hear that, because I'm pretty damn sure, just like you said, Jason was bamboozled. And I'm like, I want to hear what he.
I feel like Jason. Honest to God, I feel like Jason does not have a single brain cell.
Yeah.
I feel like there is not a single thought behind those eyes.
Oh well, there is one thought.
Murder.
Revenge.
Yeah. So yeah, he ends up killing them, and there was one character we both really liked. He was part of the company group, and he was like very clumsy, ditzy man who's like trying to like act like a spy agent or something, and he's like, "Ha, yeah."
Yeah, he breaks a branch. Like he was trying to hide behind. Like he's trying putting it back on like it's glue. And like Sonya was like, I hope that was improv.
I hope it was because that branch fell apart in his hands.
It's like, oh my god. And then he just keeps running, but then he falls. And then we're just like,
The
oh.
gun flies away, and he's like, "Oh God, oh no!" Cut back to the exec and the two guys, and this is before they died, and they're like, "Man, like," she's like, "Yeah, let's go ahead and call it quits," and they're like, "What? What do you mean? Maybe the other is like, maybe that one guy, I forget his name, the clumsy guy, is still alive," and she's like, "What? Him? No way. He'd most likely have like shot himself with his own pellet,
Yeah.
and then we should go back to him."
Like he's trying to follow them. And then Jason comes by.
Yeah, so this is when the exec and the two guys were talking. They're like, surely, like, yeah, he's probably like already like, shot himself on accident. And then, as he said, Jason arrives.
And 3 headshots.
3 headshots with a machete.
Yeah.
They all lose their heads in one sweep. And then as the bodies fall, we see the other guy, the clumsy guy. He's just standing awkwardly behind them, and he's just like, "Oh no!"
And then he books it, and then Jason follows him, and then
Wait, no, he doesn't book it. Remember, he tries to shoot him in the chest.
oh, that's right, he tried to be heroic.
He tries to be heroic and shoot Jason in the chest, but it's a paintball.
Yeah, and then he books it.
And then he books it. But I'll say, that was a clear, good shot.
Oh
in the
yeah, it was a
chest.
good shot. Yeah,
Like for someone clumsy, yeah.
if it only was a real bullet, and that Jason has already not shown that, and if it wasn't already shown
If
that
he was just a normal human.
it was just normal human.
Because obviously, it's a book and shot. It's not going to do anything to Jason.
Yeah.
So, after that, we don't see them for a bit.
Yeah, we don't see him for a bit, so we're just gonna put a pin on that.
Put a pin on that, yeah.
We'll talk about it in a second. All right, and then
I think we go back to the police station.
we do like they're about to transport Tommy, but real quick we see the grave digger.
Oh yeah. So we go back to the graveyard, and the gravedigger, he sees the groundskeeper. He sees that Jason's
Grave is dug up.
yeah, and he's like, "Oh, some stupid ass kid like did this, blah 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 blah."
And he breaks the fourth wall because it feels like he broke the fourth wall because he was staring at the camera saying people will do anything for entertainment.
Oh,
And he's-
yeah.
And he's burying the grave, and he doesn't realize.
Haha, movie, so funny. He doesn't realize, like, because, like, the friend is in the coffin. However, his foot is sticking out.
His
And if
foot
you
is-
look closely, that's a fresh foot.
Yes.
Fresh, clean jeans, new shoes. Well, not new shoes, but the shoes are, like, not that raggedy. The skin is perfect condition. It is not a corpse.
And I don't care if he's drunk. If he's able to bury that freaking grave, he should at least be coherent enough.
However, yeah, he's an alcoholic, but he's also a graduate student.
He's a high school graduate student.
Oh, I thought he said he was, like, from college.
No, he graduated high school.
Oh, when he said graduate student, I thought he meant like, yeah, I graduated college and stuff. Like this job, like this is perfect. And I'm just like, that's so funny.
Yeah, no, he's a high school graduate.
Okay, lol. I totally misunderstood that.
That's why I have subtitles on.
I still misunderstood it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he basically reburies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
And trying to look at the thing. Oh,
I think this is when we go to the police station. Either that
Yes.
or maybe like it's the.
pretty much like
'Cause I'm trying to remember when the whole scene of Core, the guy friend, happened. In the trailer?
that's a little bit later.
It's a bit later. Okay.
So it's like still daytime. So the counselors, the remaining 4 counselors, they're trying to get the kids like hyped up about things.
yeah.
And then we cut to Tommy starting a car chase to go to the graveyard.
Oh, yeah. Basically, he doesn't start the car chase, but the chief lets him out, but he's like, hey, you're gonna have to leave the town, and so you can go back in your car. However, I'm gonna escort you in my police car.
Yeah.
So we're gonna make sure that you leave town and don't come back. If I see you again, like it's it, like that's it for you.
Yeah.
So they're driving away from the town, and then that's when that's when Tommy decides to do the whole like car chase because he tries to like turn back.
to show that, hey, Jason's not in his grave. It's
Yeah.
someone else in the grave.
Well, he drives back to the graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he gets out of the car, runs to the graveyard. Police finally tackles him. He's like, no, you gotta like look at the graveyard, blah, blah, blah. They look over, the graveyard is perfectly fine. They're like, what do you mean? Like, nobody dug it up. There's no hole. Like, it's perfectly, like, as it was.
Yeah.
And that's when the groundskeeper comes in, and Tommy is like, yo, you gotta, like, dig it back up. Jason's, like, you gotta check. My friend's down there, you gotta check. Jason's still out there. But the cops take him away.
Well, I think the deputy pulled out a gun that's like, that is military grade, sir. You should not have that.
Yeah. Like, he personally bought that for himself.
Yeah, like
It had, like, a laser and everything.
yeah, and I think he said around the lines, wherever the red dot is, goes bang.
Yeah, no, that's word for word.
Yeah, and I'm just
like...
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, that is military grade gun, good sir. You should not have that.
The way that the police acts, like the way the police act in these movies
Yeah.
is so bewildering because they are so trigger happy. They
So
treat
trigger-happy.
everybody so like with so much hostility.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, perhaps not surprising, but then again, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And I'm just like, you fucking dick.
Yeah, they're complete assholes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyway, they go to so they continue trying to escort Tommy out. This time, I think Tommy is in the police car instead of his own truck because I think because at this point they were like, we can't trust you to drive.
Yeah, so I think the deputy is probably driving this car.
Yeah.
Either way, they take him like out in front of you're now leaving green
Whatever.
forest.
Whatever. You're leaving this town, and if we see you again, that's it for you.
Yeah. And then I think at this point, we're finally transitioning to night.
Yep.
And I think we start off like going back into the forest, and we see this new couple like being introduced as per usual. New
Yeah.
characters everywhere. They
Oh, yeah.
die immediately.
Being like, ooh la la in the forest.
Yeah, big ooh la la. I thought it was slightly funny because basically it was like a guy pouting. The girl's like, oh my gosh, you got me this ring. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Here's an engagement. And
he's
he's just like, well, I'm hurt. You thought I was taking you here to just smash? No, I'm more thoughtful than that. And then she's like, well, I mean, we could though. And he's like, no, why would we do that? It's a messy act. And she's like, well, but we could. And he's like, okay.
yeah. Slightly before that, the groundskeeper, he's walking home or walking somewhere.
He's walking home.
We're assuming, but he's also very drunk.
Drunk as per usual. He's drinking. He's like,
Catherine,
my beloved. He's talking to his alcoholic bottled
Yeah.
beverage.
like Catherine. Oh, look what you do to me. Oh, you're so naughty. Like it just like.
He's like, this is an early like death, but my God, is it worth it?
Oh, yeah.
And we're both just like, oh.
It's like,
Alcoholism is funny.
Oh yeah, and then and we're gonna focus on him real quick. So
Also, I say that sarcastically. Alcoholism is not funny. If you feel like you have any problems with that, please get help. Or if you feel
Yes.
like anybody in your life has that problem, or help them. Anyways,
yes,
it's not a joke.
not a joke, but yeah, it was in the movie anyway. So Graveskeeper throws the bottle, which is like littering.
Yeah, he
but
throws it behind him. Yeah.
Throws behind him, littering, but he doesn't hear. You don't hear the clink that a bottle would, because it's a glass bottle. You don't
Yeah.
hear that when it falls on like trees or ground. So he turns around
It's interesting how he was coherent enough to
hear that. Yeah.
But I guess it just goes to show you how often he does that.
Oh yeah. But yeah, he turns around. Jason's there with the bottle, and like I'm just thinking, oh, Jason's like, I want Jason to be, if he can talk, I just want him to be like, no littering, He breaks the bottle and uses the bottle to kill the keeper. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh my god, the irony.
Yeah, it
Ah!
really does end up killing him in the end, technically.
Yeah.
And that's when we switch back to the couple, and they hear a scream, and the guy is like, "Oh, I gotta go check that out." And she's like, "No, Peter, whatever the fuck your name is, don't go, Steve
Or Steven.
Steven."
Yeah, so he goes there, sees Jason, he's just like, fuck, and runs and grabs the girl and she's like, no, please stop us, we're just going.
Yeah, they hop onto their motorcycle. However, Jason steps in front of them, and boom, double kill.
Double kill.
Spear through the chest.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And then so then we fast forward, the counselors, like right now it's just the 2 girl counselors, they're keeping an eye on the kids.
Oh yeah, and they're like, yeah, where are Megan and Core? So Core is the guy friend with the beautiful eyes.
Beautiful eyes.
Megan is the sheriff's daughter.
So it's like, okay, so and we're like, okay, you know, Megan's probably with her dad, talking with the dad real quick.
No, they said, oh, Megan probably went back to the boy, to the psych ward boy, and probably got a loaf of bread with like a saw inside to break him out.
God.
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, she's probably there to go see him.
Yeah. But then we don't know. And then they're wondering where Court is.
Oh, that's when the other girl was like, yeah, no, Core said he had to go help out a friend, something about a bump in the night or something like that. Basically, complete, like, you know, insinuating that he's out there bulking.
Yep.
And he's going out there to smash.
And next scene, there he is with a pretty girl. And
On top of him, not doing anything naughty. Just bouncing along.
oh yeah, just bouncing.
Yeah.
Just bouncing.
They're listening to a song, and he's like, oh, yeah, oh. And she's like, yeah, no, you gotta last until, like, the song ends. And he's like, oh, how long is the song? And she's like,
10 minutes.
10 more minutes.
And it's just like, oh my god.
And you just see his face, and he's just looking like, oh, no. Anyways, Jason is outside the van, smashes, cuts out the power cord or whatever. He smashes it. He just does it with his bare fist, straight up.
Yeah, but yeah.
And then, you know, the power goes out, and they're like, oh, what? And then she's like, oh, what the? But you came? And he's like, well, you saw when the song finished. And she's like, ugh, what the fuck? Anyways, I thought that was very funny.
Yeah, and they're trying to get the van out of here. And like,
oh yeah, they wanted to drive it out because she's like, yeah, my stepfather, if he finds this, like, he'll really kill me. So, you know, the guy, Core, he tries to turn on the van, and, like, you know, doesn't. Oh, right, because she's like, at first they don't realize that there's something wrong with the van.
Yeah.
They think that the he needs to, like, you know, something with the plug for the AC.
And they find out that the plug is hot.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, let's go, because if that's hot, then something's out there.
Yeah, and so, the Core, he ends up driving the van like a maniac, and in the background you just see the girl like literally like ragdolling all over the van.
And you said if she doesn't get a concussion out of this, I think you said that, right?
Yeah.
And then and I was saying, oh, watch as Jason's gonna be in the van.
Yeah, that's exactly,
because like,
yeah,
at this point I can predict twist. And it's like,
I don't know if I'd call it a twist, though, considering the pattern. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I can predict patterns. So it's like, okay. And then, so he gets in the van and he grabs the girl. Goes into the bathroom.
as Core is driving around like a maniac. Yeah.
And they get into a bathroom, and we're going back and forth between the girl with Jason and then Court.
Yeah.
Court's like making very fun
comments. Yeah, he hears her kind of groaning and screaming. He's like, "Oh, wow, maybe I should like go with you. You want me to join you? Do you need help? Ooh,
yeah.
Are you taking a big dump? Would you let me have a peek?" Or vice versa. And then we're just like, "Bruh, chill." And he has the music on very loud, so it's rock music.
So you can't hear her being killed,
guys.
Yeah,
I think this would be our second or third, like, what the fuck moment.
Yes, because I'm like, that death scene does not make fucking sense to me.
This is
there's
a death scene similar to the smiley face in the tree.
No, the smiley face was funny.
No, but this makes, I feel like it's on the same level.
It's on the same level, but the Bloody Smile at least was funny. This
Yeah.
makes no fucking sense because there's no way, even if he's supernatural, he's
Okay,
not that
so
strong.
basically
Oh my God.
what happens
Ugh.
is that he ends up smashing her face through the mirror in the bathroom, and then we get an outside shot of the van, and we see her face indenting the metal to where it like we see what do you call it, an indentation of her face.
I hate that.
And it makes no goddamn sense
I
because
hate
her
that.
face would have just been crushed.
Yes, and I hate that. And it's been shown before that when Jason does something like that, face is completely destroyed.
Yeah,
So
so
that doesn't make fucking
I
sense.
feel like it's supposed to be similar in the vein of like the smiley face because
Mhm.
like obviously it doesn't make sense. I think it's supposed to be more comedic. I definitely did scream laugh.
I was more like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it made me laugh. It was funny.
Yeah, and then I put a note here say, Jason, don't attack the driver. Because you know why. So, Sonny
yeah.
mentioned this earlier, but Jason did kill Court with a knife that he may have picked up from one of the company people.
Hmm.
And please note, Court is driving the van.
Like an absolute maniac.
Yes. So when Jason killed him, the van goes off road and tumbles.
Yeah, it like falls to the side, to the back, and then just all over a mess.
It
And
catches
then
on fire.
it catches on fire. Jason just like climbs out of the window, like no problem, and then stands over the truck like, I'm the king of the hill, or I'm the king of the world. I don't know. It's like it was very funny. He's just standing there, proud of his destruction.
I swear, I need to find a video of someone just doing what Jason is thinking for this movie because I just need to know if it is King of the Hill because I want to know if he will do that. But at the same time, I'm just like, why? You could have gone to the camp faster. But then again, I'm just like, no, wait, you never learned how to drive.
He never learned how to drive. Oh my god, I forgot about that.
I was like, you could have tried to get. Wait, you never learned how to drive.
I even want a T-shirt of Jason just saying, I can't adult.
Yes.
And then, like, on the back, or in very small letters, I never grew up, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of do now. God damn it.
I can't adult today or ever.
I want that T-shirt. If I want to find it,
I need to, like, make it.
for me, that would be great.
Yeah.
That would be a great birthday gift. Or a
I'll
late
keep that in
Christmas
mind.
gift.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. Anyway, going back to the movie, because I'm noticing we're about to hit the 1 hour mark. But, that's fine. That's fine. These movie reviews take a little while.
We're not even reviewing it, technically. We're just kind of, like, giving the entire, like, movie.
And our reactions to it.
Yeah, no. But, I guess to speed pretty fast. We kind of go back and forth, but eventually we stay in the camp, and that's when, the main camp counselors, they get
Sissy and Paula, they're, like, wondering where Court is. And Sissy is like, oh, maybe he's trying to play a prank on us.
Well, at first, Sissy got suspicious because there were some strange noises outside, and that's when the friend was like, oh, maybe he is back, but he's playing a prank.
Yeah.
So Sissy is like, I'll get him back. So she grabs, like, a can of soda, pours it out the window because she thinks he's hiding under the window, and then she doesn't hear or see anything, so she's like, what?
And then Jason pulls her out.
Yeah, she goes to the window to investigate more, and then he just straight up pulls, like, her feet going through the window.
And leaving her shoes behind. And Paula, oh my god!
Yeah, so basically, Jason snaps Sissy's head
Completely
clean off. She screams before that happens, so Paula briefly wakes up and is like, oh, Sissy, oh man, these kids be naughty, or
And
something
then
like
She
that.
goes back to sleep, and I'm just like, boom! I just disappeared!
Yeah, she's just assuming that, like, Sissy and Core just started going at it or something. I don't know what the thought processes are behind any of these characters.
Yeah, but again, Jason had a very fun moment where he realizes he tore off someone's head.
Oh,
Clean
yeah,
off.
he did that again where he's just, like, looking at it like, oh my.
Just like, oh, okay. And then, like, he's, like, trying to hide the body. And like, we also have small, little moments of, like, a little girl being like, I saw a monster. Because she's talking about Jason.
So, the Paula, she wakes up because she hears a scream.
Yeah.
So she goes to investigate in the girls' dormitory, I guess. And there's a girl, yeah, like he said, she's like, yeah, there's a monster. And she's like, oh, little girl, like, whatever her face is. She's like,
Nancy.
Nancy, you know what I did when I was a kid? Whenever I got scared like this, this happened, I just did a prayer and they went away.
So yeah, I think actually real quick. So it was the little girl screamed first. Nancy and Sissy, this is before Sissy died, goes over to the girl's cabin, checks on Nancy.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah, but you just said Paula, because
That's her name, Paula. The
Yeah.
short-haired girl. Yeah,
Yeah.
she gets up to check on the girl.
both of them before Sissy died. This was before.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
This happened earlier.
Yeah, and then-
My bad.
Okay, let me go ahead. And then a little bit later, after Sissy disappears, quote
Yeah.
unquote, the Nancy comes back and she's holding a bloody machete, and I'm just like, little girl, you should not be holding that thing.
Yeah, she's like, I found it outside.
And then like,
Also, I'm scared.
yeah, so Paula decides, okay, let's go find Sissy.
Well,
and
Paula thinks it's a prank.
Yeah, that's
She
what I'm
thinks
saying.
like a fake knife with fake blood.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wouldn't you be able to smell the blood?
Yeah.
Also, that's like a real machete. Like, what?
That's why I was like, little girl shouldn't be holding that. But anyway, Paula and Nancy are like, okay, let's go find Court and Sissy because they're probably pulling a prank to scare us.
Yeah.
And so, they do that, and Jason's just watching,
In the background.
being like, okay, where's my knife?
like, where did it go?
Yeah. So, a little like,
Also, where did the little girl find that? Like, just, like, I know she said outside, but it's like, where?
yeah.
What?
Anyway, yeah, it's just so weird. Anyway, so Paula takes Nancy back to the cabin, and that's when she did say, yeah, you know what helped me as a little girl? Praying.
Yeah, that's right.
So then we fast forward, and so after that, Paula tries to go back to the cabin,
Yeah.
and the door is like swinging. Like she's having
And
this moment
Jason
of-
was stalking her as she was going back to the cabin. We get a pretty cool shot where you see her going through the cabin, and then you also see the windows, and you see Jason like following her step for step.
That was a beautiful.
I thought
shot.
that was actually pretty cool.
I want to do something like that.
I was also
Okay.
like, well, how the fuck did she not notice him? But also, that was a pretty cool shot.
Oh yeah. But yeah. So Paula gets into the cabin,
Mhm.
and she knows the door keeps opening, and she tries closing it because she's terrified at this point. But then like she's like, okay, and she's putting her guard down, which is a big mistake.
Yeah, she thinks it's like, oh, it's just a wind.
It's the wind.
Yeah.
So she closes it, and Jason appears, and oh my god, if this is probably the most it didn't show it, but this was probably the most gory scene because
Slightly.
at this point. So Jason has reclaimed his machete
Yeah.
and slices her, and her blood spews across the window before she goes through it.
Yeah, and
And
then he
Jason
like pulls her back
pulls
in.
her back. And then we'll reveal that what happened to the room later.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, you're not wrong about that.
Yeah.
I
But
think at this point
Oh.
it goes back to the police station, and Megan is there,
Megan is
and
there.
the chief.
Sheriff.
Yeah, I try to say chef. Yeah, I'm embarrassed, but the sheriff is like, kind of going at her, being like, "What are you secret doing? Blah blah blah. Not being responsible. You gotta stay away from that kid." And then she's just like, "Oh, blah, whatever." And then and then he ends up getting like the phone calls, and he's like, "Damn it, that kid. He's just gonna do whatever it takes to make us believe that Jason is alive," because he's getting phone calls about like the dead bodies.
Yeah. And then as soon as he
Yeah.
leaves, Paula gets another phone call, and it's from Tommy, and he's like, "Hey, I need you to help me grab these items, and I need to deal with Jason tonight."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
she's like, "Oh, well, you can't get back here, so you can I can pick you up, and we can take my car, because if my dad sees your car, he will lose it."
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So she goes to pick Tommy up. We cut real quick to the police,
Mm-hmm.
and they find the clumsy employee.
Oh
And
yeah.
I got my comments for that. I said,
we finally go back to that pin.
yeah.
Yeah.
And my comment was, "Oh, there's that piece, and there's that piece, and there's that piece." Like I'm just pointing out all the pieces.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys can imagine.
Yeah,
I felt very sad.
I was too, because he was adorable.
He was funny.
Yeah, so that happens, and then the police are slowly connecting the pieces.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, all these different bodies. Yeah, that damn kid. It must be his fault."
Yeah,
Yeah, and one of the officers, the deputy, he's like, "Oh, you really sure picked a good time." The sheriff is like, "What?" And the deputy is like, yeah, it's Friday the 13th. Dramatic.
Oh. But yeah, so not Paula, I'm sorry. Megan goes, picks up Tommy. They go around town real quick to grab the stuff, and they try to go to the camp. Police officers are there stopping them.
Yeah, they block the entrance, and then she immediately books it, and she has Tommy duck. We get a fun shot of her crotch because his face is right in her crotch.
And like he's just trying not to be rude. He's like, okay.
He's like, let me get up. She's like, no! Pushes him back in. Crotch shot again. And he's just like, oh, God.
And like she makes even a comment like, oh, no, this is fine.
Yeah, she's like, this is more than fine.
Yeah, and just like, girl,
yeah.
get your horny ass to jail.
Yeah, like, she's like ride or die for the hornies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but the people at the scene, the police, they were like, this is suspicious. Somebody just got here, and they're immediately leaving as soon as they saw us. We saw somebody duck in the car. They're chasing after them. They call the sheriff, and they're like, yeah, they're describing the car. And he's like, y'all better act delicately because that's my daughter's car.
And plus, if most likely she has this psycho with her.
Yeah, so he's like, yeah, so they end up doing a crazy drive scene, and then she ends up
gets caught by her dad.
Yeah, because the road is blocked by him.
Yeah.
And he's like pointing the gun at them, and he's like, y'all better get your asses out.
Yeah.
And then I think we transition back to the police station.
Yeah, and like, they throw Tommy in the jail, and the sheriff tells the deputy, keep an eye on my daughter and this psychopath. Make sure they don't do anything stupid.
Yeah, and then he leaves because, yeah, right before he leaves, he gets a call.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when he discovers the camp counselors and the daughter. She's like yelling at him, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, what happened?
Like, what time?
No, she's like, what happened with the phone call? And that's when he's like, yeah, your damn friends got killed, blah, 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 pretty horrific. And she's like, oh my God. And that's when she was like, her and Tommy, they were asking, what time though? And then he says around 8 or 9, whatever.
8:30 to 9.
Yeah, 8:30 to 9. And she's like, but Tommy was with me that entire time. And we see the sheriff kind of pause.
Like he's thinking about it, but he's like, there's no way. So that's when he's like, throws Tommy in this jail cell and just keep an eye on him and make sure that my daughter does not leave.
Yeah. And then he just leaves. The lake.
Yeah.
So at that point when we transition to Camp Crystal Lake with the police investigating. Okay.
Let me double check. No, so real quick, we have, just before the police come up, we have Jason going into the girl's cabin, just looking around, and he notices Nancy, the little girl.
Yeah.
And like, he's walking up to her, and Nancy, being the little girl, she thinks he's gonna kill her.
Well, yeah, she thinks he's a monster.
Oh, yeah. And so she does the prayer that Paula told her to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, do not hurt the child, Jason. Please don't hurt the child. And I think he's just staring at her. He's not doing anything. He's just staring at her.
Yeah.
And then he hears the police, and then he disappears. And she opens her eyes again, and he's gone. So she's like, prayer worked.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, sweet little girl, you're going to have more trauma.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
So the police get there, obviously. The sheriff, they're like, yeah, let's split up, gang. Let's, like, see what the hell is up. Sheriff stumbles upon the camp counselor's cabin.
And oh my God, I think I wrote this overkill. Because the entire room is covered almost inch to inch in blood.
And I'm just like, what did he do? Just throw them around ragdoll style? Like, open guts, like blood spewing everywhere? Like, I can't imagine how much effort that took.
I have no idea, but like, I'm just like thinking, there's no way that's one person's blood.
Definitely not.
That's
not
at least
even,
two.
Like, 2. Well,
maybe 3.
I mean, there's 2 bodies for sure, but still,
maybe
it's
3.
like.
But like, then again, like, where would he get the third one?
I mean, he's a bit of a hoarder.
You know,
he does like to like take all the bodies and like, collect them in one spot, and usually he likes to set them up to spook other people for some reason.
Yeah, well, that's fair. But yeah, it was like overkill, and I'm just like, oh yeah, Jason's mad.
Yeah, and then the sheriff is like, oh shit.
So then the sheriff starts going around the camp, and we follow the other two.
Yeah, he is checking on the kids, and we
Yeah.
follow it. Yeah.
So we first follow one police officer who's just walking around near the lake, and he sees Jason, or he hears Jason, and
Yeah.
Jason appears, and I don't know what he got, but he got like a little arrow,
Yeah, straight up arrow.
and got him straight on the forehead,
Mm-hmm.
having him fall back in a boat.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what the heck?
Yeah, as per usual, our responses makes no sense. The
Yeah.
movie, I mean.
We cut back to the sheriff. He's checking the
Kids,
and he noticed one bed is empty.
Yeah, and he's like, oh shit.
And he goes to look for that little girl, which is Nancy.
Yeah.
And so we cut to the second cop, or the third cop, depending on how many, if you're counting the sheriff.
Yeah.
And he's looking around, and he hears something in the bushes, and he's like giving a warning, saying, if you don't come out now, and he has his gun out. And I'm just like, man, that could be the little girl.
That could be.
And he's getting closer, but then Nancy, the little girl, comes in and like gets to him, and he's spooked, but he knows that it's the little girl.
Yeah, she like kind of
So she's freaking out.
like hugs him from behind, and it's like, there's a bad man. He's here, and he's like, what? What do you mean? You're safe. We'll take you back to bed. And Jason goes from behind him. The little girl's like, runs away.
Yeah, and this is like one of the moments where he decides that popping heads like peanuts was the appropriate time.
Very appropriate.
Yeah. Oh my god. That head pop.
It was
The
fun.
aftermath.
The aftermath, yeah.
Ooh.
So I think we go back to the sheriff. The sheriff is like going around. Little girl, Nancy, stumbles upon him, and she's like, And he's like, don't worry, little girl. Let's go back to your camp. Let's get
cabin.
everybody. Oh yeah, he goes to the boys' cabin with her.
Yeah, the boy. He's right next to the boys' cabin, and the boy and Nancy meets him, and then he looks up. The boys are all there looking at him, and he says, "Okay, come on, boys, let's go." And they all go to the girls'
They can
cabin.
sense that something's wrong.
Oh yeah, and they all go to the girls' cabin, and he tells all the kids, "All right, lay underneath your beds. Do not come out until I come out." Like he's trying to make sure these kids are safe, and like all the kids are running to the beds. Some scenes the kids are like doving, and I'm like,
They're like literally throwing themselves onto the floor.
no, I'm just like, that's not kids, that's the ragdolls.
Yeah, and then there's there's these two boys that we see earlier in the movie because they're like, wow, this is shit.
Yeah.
But they're like, yeah, we're dead meat.
Oh my god. Like,
and then I thought that was very funny.
yeah.
They come back again later. So the sheriff is going out, and he's like, he knows there's somebody here.
Yeah, and he stumbles upon
He literally stumbles over the body of the second police officer and
like,
falls on him.
like blood, and I don't know
Like
what
brain matter.
snot.
Yeah, on his face. Gets it on his own face, and he's like, oh god. So he's like going, oh my gosh.
Keep going.
He's going to the really funny scene. So he ends up finding Jason.
Oh no!
Right after that, I think.
I think Jason finds him.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and right now, so the sheriff has a shotgun.
Yeah.
And he shoots Jason, and Jason falls back.
By the way, the music when Jason falls is like dramatic and then quiet.
But Jason gets up. Sheriff fires again.
Yeah.
Having Jason roll.
And then the music is like dun 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 dun.
And this is like 3 times.
Yeah. Basically, the sheriff keeps shooting Jason over and
It's
over.
the rule
again.
of 3.
Yeah,
You
and
have
Jason
to do it
just
3
keeps
times.
getting up. But it's like he stops for a moment, and we're like, "Oh, he's dead." Wait, no, he's not dead.
Oh, he's dead. No, he's not.
Yeah,
And
and the
then-
music like follows it, and I thought that was very funny.
It was so funny. Shotgun runs out of bullets, so he has to rely on his pistol.
Yeah,
That doesn't work because we've already established multiple times guns don't work on Jason right now.
yeah, it doesn't. So I think he ends up booking it.
Oh yeah, he does. And Jason is just walking right behind him,
Yeah,
and I'm just like, you can outrun Jason. You can't.
well, I said if you go for like a light jog,
Yes.
I think I said this earlier. I don't remember when I said this. I
Oh,
don't
you
know if
said,
it's-
yeah.
yeah. If you go for a light jog, I bet you could like evade him. You just have to make sure you never stop moving.
And don't look back. Yeah. But like this was during while we were watching it. I'm just like, you can outrun him. Just keep running. Don't look back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. This was during the movie. But yeah. So that chase scene happens. Tommy and Megan finally come into the camp, and Megan and like they're trying to get stuff ready, and Megan realizes the kids, so she runs to check on the kids.
No, she goes first to the.
Oh no, she goes to the cabin first, and
yeah, she's like, "Look, Sissy, Paula,"
Paula?
and then blood everywhere, and she's like, "Oh God, the kids!"
Yes. And at this whole time, Tommy is just trying to tell her, "No, come on," like he's just like trying to get her back, but then she's like, "Fuck it, getting this trap ready."
Mm-hmm.
And she checks on the kids, make sure they're okay, and then tries to run and starts screaming for her dad. She's like, "Daddy, where are you?"
Yeah.
And then that gets Jason's attention.
Yeah, and the dad hears his daughter, and he's like, "Oh shit!"
And he's just like, "You don't get no, not her."
Yeah.
And jumps on it, and he actually did put up a good fight against Jason.
Yeah, he even like gets like a few kicks in, and he actually kicks Jason to like kind of like makes him like fly a bit, and I was like, "Whoa,
Oh yeah,
that's very powerful kicks."
yeah. And then but Jason overpowers him, and oh my god, another ragdoll special effects because so just so you guys know, the sheriff is folded back, like his head is like now touching his heels.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it should be very traumatic because, this guy who just wanted to protect his daughter because after losing his wife, lost his life. But the rag dolls of the special effects.
It just looks bad.
It looks so bad, and I'm just laughing like, oh my god, that is such bad graphic
I was
effects.
just mad at Megan because I was like, there's a killer on the loose. Who is Jason? Why are you screaming?
Why are you
First
screaming?
of all, you're gonna get yourself killed. Second of all, like, that's not gonna help your dad.
No, because like he was hiding. He was being
And Tommy even told her at one point before the dad died, he told her, you need to go call the cops
and an
an ambulance. She tries to go do that. She goes to the car, and that's where Sissy's head is.
Yeah.
From that's where her head is. It falls, and she starts screaming, and that's when she's like, "Hey!" Because she's like, "Oh my god, if this happened to my friend, that could happen to my dad."
Yeah.
But both of us are like, "Bro, you're making it worse for everybody." And then Tommy is just like, "What, Megan? No. Okay, fuck you. I'm going to keep doing this."
Yeah.
And basically, his trap. He got some. This is a CMS. He read some occult books.
Yes.
That he bought after he got kicked out of the town. Basically, the idea is that the only way to kill Jason is to have him die in his resting place, which is the lake.
Yeah.
So he has a big stone attached to these chains, and he plans on somehow having him sink to the bottom of the lake.
Yeah. So so that's the plan. But so Megan goes back to check on the kids, and Jason appears, and the kids are terrified because it's a big scary man. Yeah. And Megan tries to get him to follow her, and he does, and he's about to squeeze her brain, just like one of the cops. And that's when Tommy's screaming, like, "Hey, Jason, it's me you want. I'm over here."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, that's a good idea. Just as long as Megan keeps her mouth shut, they can get this done. No. Megan, as soon as Jason gets in the water and he's trying to get to Tommy, Megan is screaming to Tommy, like, "Get out of there, get out of there." And Jason's starting to turn back to her.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, girl, that sound is what drives him.
Yeah, and then Tommy is also like, "Bruh, we skipped the part of how they even got out of the police station."
Oh my god, yeah, we did.
Well, they got out.
They got out.
Basically, they make out between the bars.
Sexual tension.
Then the deputy is like, "Hey, guys, stop it." And then they, she pulls the gun from his pocket, and she's like, "You better, let us leave." And he's like, "Megan, oh my god, this is stupid. Don't do this, girl." And she's like, "Nuh-uh, I'm not playing." That's how they get out.
Yeah,
Anyways, back to the current scene. Tommy is trying to lure Jason. Megan is like, "No!"
And so Tommy is still trying to just get Jason to come to him. And it's at one point where Jason gets to the point where he can't stand. He has to go underwater.
Yeah.
So now it's just the game of where the hell is Jason and where he's
Yeah.
going to pop out.
Because he has the chain, the circle chain.
Yeah, and real quick, I put in I said this is my notes, and I thought Jason hated the water because
Yeah, because he almost drowned.
he almost drowned. So I would have
Mhm.
been like, okay, he probably would have had fear of water because there's no way he would go in the water willingly,
Yeah.
especially since now he cannot swim.
Well, maybe it's the whole idea, like, if he actually did die in the water, maybe he's, like, the master of the water.
Probably.
I don't know. There's no rhyme or logic.
Well, okay, we're just gonna put a pin on that, like just in general, because when we get to a certain movie crossover, I'm bringing this up, and I'm going to be raging because this is a continuity that I just need everyone to know.
Okay.
So in the future, we're gonna get to it. Anyway, back to the fight. So Jason's playing whack-a-mole. Oh no, Tommy's playing whack-a-mole with Jason in a way.
Yeah, and he ends up pouring, he has gasoline with him. So
Yeah.
he pours the gasoline around his boat and lights it on fire. For once, it's not raining, so it actually works. And he's like, "What the fuck is Jason?" And then boom. Yeah.
And they struggle a bit, and then like Tommy's trying to grab the chains, but Jason's like keeping him away from it.
Yeah.
I
He's
guess
trying
so-
to grab his head and
Kind of
stuff.
grab his hands, yeah. And then Jason goes back in the water, and Tommy grabs the chains to ensure that this time, if he hops up again, he gets it.
Mhm.
Hello,
Oh, sorry, I touched your foot.
you kicked me.
Oh, I didn't kick it, just touched you.
How dare you?
I dare.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so Jason, he has the chains at the ready this time for realsies. Jason pops out
You mean Tommy
again.
has the chains ready? Because you said Jason.
Jason has the chains ready, and Tommy pops out of the water. It's a reversal. So no, yeah, Tommy has it ready. Jason pops out. He's on fire now because of the gasoline.
Yeah.
He gets it around his neck. However, they struggle again. The boat breaks in half.
Oh yeah. And now they're completely underwater. Like the rock that the chains are attached has already sunk.
It's a really big rock.
Oh, it's a really big rock. Probably like the size of my laptop.
It makes sense.
Or no, twice the size of my laptop. I'm
I was
sorry.
gonna say it's kind of small. It makes sense why the boat broke in half. Now that I think about it, because the rock was kind of like in the center.
In the center, and they were
Yeah.
putting too much pressure in the middle.
Yeah.
But yeah. At this point, Tommy has already put in the chains on Jason.
Mm-hmm.
So Jason can't go up, but he's able to get a few hits on Tommy. Like
yeah, he
Oh.
actually ends up dragging him down to the
Oh,
water
yeah,
with
he
him.
does.
Yeah, the Megan is like, "No, Tommy!"
yeah, and like Tommy at one point Tommy stops breathing, so Jason's like, okay, I win. Lets him go. Tommy goes up to the front, and he's floating because like
Mhm.
that's what when someone who drowns.
That's what they do.
That's what they do. They
They
just
just kind of do that.
they kinda do
yeah.
and so Megan decides to jump in, thinking, hey, maybe I can still save him.
Yeah, she's doing her like camp counselor lifeguard training.
Yeah. And Jason grabs her and like grabs her foot, and she's trying to grab onto the remains of the boat,
Yeah.
and she's pulling the boat engine, and like a part of it looks like the
Oh, the propeller.
The propeller.
Yeah.
and like I've seen like one of that part looks like a machete. Maybe I think this is where he gets hit in the head, but then I'm like,
Yeah, it looks like there's a machete stuck in the engine.
in the engine. But no, she's revving it up because she's going to use the blades.
Yeah, I think the machete thing was literally just like the thing like you use to
Yeah.
control the boat. I
The-
just thought it
the
was
handle.
a machete. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a handle, but I was like, what is it looks like a machete stabbed into it.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
But she finally gets it, and she guides it just enough to where Jason gets caught. Which, I don't know how she did
It
that.
doesn't make sense actually.
When her foot is so close to Jason's face.
Yeah, I feel like it would have gotten her instead.
Yeah. But
So I don't know how that worked. But yeah.
yeah. But
Gets
That-
him in the face, I think.
yeah, around the neck actually.
Yeah.
And that happens, and it just keeps going. It goes back and forth between her trying to get away and the blade hitting Jason to the
Mhm.
point where until Jason starts bleeding and like guts and
Yeah,
Huh.
it spilled out into the water and it was very gross. I would say that was one of the more graphic
That's right.
scenes.
yeah.
Yeah, because that was pretty nasty.
Yeah.
You saw like bits floating in the water.
Like,
So yeah, finally let go of her. She swims back to Tommy,
and gets Tommy to the shore.
and then Oh my god.
Okay, so before we continue, please note, Sunny is CPR certified.
Yes, I have known how to do CPR since I was in middle school. I know how to do it, and I've always noticed that movies don't know how to do CPR. They don't
No.
know how to portray it correctly. So she has him, lay on his back, and she starts doing the mouth to mouth breathing, because typically you start off with chest compressions, and so she did mouth to mouth like twice, and then finally does the compressions. Does it like once, long, 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 long pause, crying, 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 twice, long, long, long pause, crying, crying, crying. Oh, he suddenly spits out water.
Spits out
It's
water.
just like
And
no.
you said at one point he has to be put on his side to
Yeah.
get it out.
He would have to immediately be put on his side, or else he will start choking on the water. But instead, she pulls him up and just starts hugging him.
Which
and
I
I'm
would've-
just like,
That kind of would have suffocated him.
yeah,
Right?
because he would not only be like coughing out water, he'd probably also be barfing as well.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a fun moment.
Yeah, because that water had like probably entered his lungs and his stomach. Like it would, yeah. He would
Yeah.
have to like barf it out too.
Yeah. And the kids are cheering like, "Oh my god, we defeated Jason!"
Yay!
And I put trauma camp complete.
The quest has been fulfilled.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that in that tone, but at the same time, this movie kind of deserves it. And the last scene
Mhm.
is Jason underwater with his eyes still open. Like,
Yeah.
he's not fully dead, but he's not alive anymore. He's kind of in weird limbo. But
I
anyway,
feel like he was alive though, because
Yeah.
you see his like his fist can kind of grips it, and you see his eyes kind of just like they're like moving a little bit. But it's like you said, it's like basically he's just stuck there.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like purgatory.
yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's Friday the 13th, part 6.
yeah, and I'm happy that Tommy and I guess Final Girl survived. However, it kind of got annoying at the end.
Yeah, so we said Megan was a ride or die at the
Mhm.
beginning. Towards the end, we were just like, "Girl, shut up."
Yeah, because she kept getting like what is your thought process? I understand that she's panicking. However, it's like
You're doing like a lot, like you're yelling.
yeah, you're making it worse. Like it's a dangerous situation. Shouldn't you be quiet?
Yeah,
Like try and look for your dad, maybe be with Tommy, like work as a team. Like I feel like it could have been better because I felt like she was set up to be the more like enters the scene, bomb and guns blazing.
Yeah.
Like, I thought she was going to be kind of badass, but it turned into her just kind of running around screaming.
yeah, we got spoiled with Scream.
Yeah.
And
I
with,
love Sydney.
Oh yeah, and with probably like some of the previous Friday the 13th movies,
Yeah.
we got spoiled.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just like, girl. Anyway,
She could have called the police and the ambulance
like she
Tommy
was told her.
Yeah. We have a lot of gripes about this movie.
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this was probably one of the more interesting movies out of the series. I feel I had mixed feelings about the previous one. I liked that it was different. However, it did end up getting a little bit boring towards the middle part and end.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a little bit more comedy that is more purposeful.
Oh yeah.
So I do like that aspect.
Yeah. I mean, like there was comedic moments, like whether they intended it or not, there were pretty good comedic moments. Like those ragdolls. Those ragdolls will keep me laughing.
That was pretty funny, yeah.
But I would say this movie, I think this is a point where the franchise starts teetering a bit of like they don't know what to do anymore
Yeah.
because unfortunately there's more movies.
I guess we'll see how that goes, or rather, I will see. I don't really know a lot about the other movies.
I mean, I saw sneak peeks with the channel Dead Meat.
Yeah, I saw sneak peeks for Jason Goes to Space.
I really want to see it because I want to make notes of how many times there is just so much stupidity because this was made
Yeah.
in 2000s. I'm like, I want to make fun of our
Yeah.
childhood.
I will say, You know what?
What?
We did not see any bare breasts.
We did not. This is actually the first movie that Friday the 13th movie so far that's like
No bare breasties.
no bare breasts. Like
No
they
titties.
they like
Like
even
the girl and Core earlier when they were in the trailer,
they were covered up.
they were wearing shirts.
Yeah.
Their bottoms weren't covered, but they were wearing
They were
shorts.
still no. Even then, the bottoms were still censored in some way.
Well, it's the perspective.
Perspective,
It was
yeah.
from the side. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh, yeah, this is the first movie that they actually started censoring.
Do you think?
Yeah, because if the
Do the other ones they don't have titties?
oh, like the ones prior to it,
No, the ones later.
they
No?
don't. Oh no, they don't.
They don't?
Mm-mm.
So they for realsies are no more titties?
Well,
no?
I
No
think
titties?
maybe there's one or two. Don't quote me on this.
Titties, please.
Yes, probably.
Titties.
Yeah, but I know like they started censoring it because at this point they were like,
Boo. I mean, it makes sense because they're about to like enter the. Well, what period is the other one's made? Is it still in the 90s or is it in the early 2000s?
I think
So I was gonna say if it's like in the early 2000s, it would make sense why they would start censoring.
I think in the 90s because Jason Goes to Space was in the 2000s.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, we had a fun time.
We had a fun time. I want to say that for this movie, it's like not in the. It's like so far with the 6 movies we've watched, it's the bottom 6. It's like not great, but it's having its moments.
Yeah, I would say the third or even the 4th movie.
Yeah.
3rd, 4th, and 5th, I would say they are the most entertaining. However, they are pretty slow paced.
I mean, the part 1 was just only hilarious because of our audio got fucked up.
Oh my gosh, part 1 was so difficult to sit through.
Yeah, it was only towards the end where it got fucked up, and then we were laughing our butts off.
Yeah, that was still funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, here we are. Our New Year's resolution. Finish Friday the 13th. We
Woo!
are almost there.
Well, I think we got just hit the halfway point, maybe, possibly. Question mark.
Oh God.
Yeah.
This is gonna take forever.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 2024 by the time we finish it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this. I would probably not recommend watching Friday the 13th. I was gonna say, yeah, y'all should watch it. Honestly, no. Unless you want to laugh at it, then yes.
Yeah. Like, take a shot every time you see bad
Oh my God, that would just kill
CGI
them.
or bad graphic effects. Yeah.
I would kill them
Yep.
immediately. Right, the first shot, right in the beginning.
Yep.
Usually, yeah.
But yeah. So we should get going. We're about to hit an hour and a half.
Woo!
And it's
long
gonna-
episode.
Gonna be a beast to edit.
Yay, fun times. Okay, well, thank you for joining us on this episode of Closet Chat. I am Sunny.
I'm Rainy.
I bid you a good night.
I bid you a good morning.
I bid you a good afternoon.
And I bid you a good evening.
Bye.
Adios.